Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Jacob, and I'm a sports guy.
My name is Tim, and I am not a sports guy.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, there you go.
I shouldn't have interrupted you.
Yeah, you just ruined it.
Let's hear what you were going to say. Can we hear that?
I don't even know. It doesn't matter.
Smooth
Something about
listens.
Yeah. So what do you think? Maybe we should tone it down a notch for this week's episode of the podcast.
We've been too exciting past few podcasts. We're going to actually turn it down, turn into an ASMR sports show.
Ooh.
That's actually incorrect. This is the Not a Sports Guy. Stop. That's so disgusting. Welcome to the Not a Sports Guy podcast, where I am one of your hosts. My name is Jacob. As you heard at the top, I'm a sports guy. And I've got my buddy old pal here, Tim.
Howdy.
And what are you, Tim?
Well, it's funny that you ask, because I was thinking before we started recording that I have never, since the beginning of this podcast, which granted we've not been rolling for that long, but this is the most unlike a sports guy I've felt since we started the podcast, like this week.
Why? It's not like you've had anything important going on.
Yeah. Nothing big deal. Just trying to get promoted here at my job. Yeah. Had an interview this week. So sports just had to take a back seat.
And that's okay.
Almost all sports, but not, there was one minor event
that
I did have to tune into.
Take it back.
But it wasn't basketball, surprisingly. And that's okay.
Is that why it was a minor one? Because it wasn't basketball?
Well, no. It was a joke. It was a joke, guys. It was the national championship of football, college football.
There you go. Well, see, Tim, you're not only not a sports guy, relating to basketball, you're also not a sports guy when it comes to college football. So yes, it was the national championship for college football. We had Georgia going up against Alabama. If you're a consistent listener, you know
I don't
that
know if you noticed, but I'm wearing my red and black.
Is that like specifically for Georgia?
No, it just was an accident, but I thought how perfect.
I'm telling you right now, if you've been a consistent listener, you know that we are from Georgia. Myself, I am a Georgia sports fan across the board. So, no. You're listening to Smooth Sports Radio. That would actually be a pretty good idea.
I don't think so.
No,
because people who listen to sports radio, they want to hear like angry people,
they want to hear the yelling.
Yeah,
right.
I don't know. Maybe there's a niche out there for it. You guys let us know. Do you want us to tone it down? Do you
I'm willing to drop the Not a Sports Guy theme and just go Smooth Talk Sport or Smooth Sports Radio. I don't think I have a smooth sports radio voice though. You could pull it off.
A little practice.
Practice makes perfect. But so Georgia won the national championship a few days ago. Huge year here for Georgia sports. The Braves win the World Series. Georgia wins the national championship. It's just been an outstanding year. So it's only right that the Hawks turn it around.
That's what I was going to say. I think nobody believes that there's any. Well, I guess the playoffs in the NFL are already. The Falcons didn't make it, right? So we can already write them off,
right?
So it's really up to the Hawks to create the trifecta. I think you were telling me that no state has ever had 3 teams win a title in the same year. Is that right?
Don't quote me. I'm not sure if that's a fact or not. I was saying a lot of teams recently have won the 2, like Tampa Bay Lightning, which is the hockey team in Florida. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they had won. I think there was another one too.
That's one city,
right? That's one city.
UGA, is in Athens, so it's not quite Atlanta, but it is a Georgia sport. Exactly. I would still take it for sure. But that's impressive.
Yeah,
I think the Hawks can pull it off. They've got a lot of work to do.
But hey, it's possible tonight. DeAndre Hunter came back, so he's already making a splash. Coming back for the Hawks, even though we did lose to the Heat tonight. It's okay. I actually watched a lot of basketball this past week, and it felt so good to just watch game after game.
You made up for my lack thereof.
Exactly. I was so pumped. I was watching all these games. I was ready to talk about all of them, and then you didn't.
Well, and the
watch.
bad news is I was hoping that like I don't even know if I got the job. You know? Like I was hoping at
So it
least I
may
could be
have been
like
for nothing.
it may have been for absolutely nothing. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully by the next time that you hear from us, I will have received a promotion.
Exactly. I'm sure you
place of
will,
work.
Tim. I don't know. Obviously, you guys don't know. I was going to say, I don't know if you guys know. Me and Tim talk all the time, and I was actually helping him study for his interview
Yeah.
this previous week.
Yeah. It was as if he like knew what the questions were going to be or something.
Exactly. No clue. I was just throwing different random questions out there for Tim. He was knocking him out of the park. We believe in Tim here. If everybody is listening, give Tim some love. He's doing his best to not only keep up to date with sports, but he's also trying to get promoted at work, y'all. Something we should all be striving for. But welcome
Unless
to
you're
the
content,
show.
and there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm not content with one thing, and it's this podcast. I want us to go to the moon just like Dogecoin. Are you a cryptocurrency guy, Tim? You didn't catch that? You didn't catch that? Okay. So you're not like a Bitcoin, anything like that?
No. And I
Okay,
know what it is, but
just no.
I don't have any. If that's I don't.
I was going to say if you had some, I could maybe borrow a few. I don't know. Anyways, this is the Not a Sports Guy podcast. It's a show where we log Tim's journey of becoming a sports fan. This season, we are covering NBA. If you are not already following us on Instagram and TikTok, follow us at Not a Sports Guy podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube, where you can listen to all of the episodes, just audio versions of it. Still no video. It'll be here soon. Just believe in us. Trust that it will be here soon. But again,
trust the process, guys.
Exactly. Trust the process. Some Joel Embiid. You know Joel Embiid's nickname is The Process?
Did not know that.
Right? I think I'm right on that. I don't know. I might not be.
I don't know because
You're not a sports guy.
It is now.
Yeah.
Just like, you know.
The what? What were you going to say? Oh!
Just like the thunder from down under.
Josh Giddey.
Giddy up, Josh.
No. Crickets again.
No, but I mean, just like we spoke that into existence, if Joel Embiid's name is not The Process, it should be. I don't know why. What is that even?
I think it is. I'm going to Google it real quick because I'm pretty sure Joel Embiid, when I first started hearing about him, I'm pretty sure that was his nickname.
It just it sounds like a rapper name.
Yes.
But like versus like a name that like is because of something he's done, or you know what I mean? Or like they call James Harden the Beard. Well, because he has a beard, right? Like, and it's a very like distinct looking beard. But what is The Process? That is just such a random.
Well, I've got an answer for you.
All right.
He nicknamed himself The Process in response to a refrain from 76ers fans during the Sam Hinkie era to trust the process.
Okay.
So that is he self-coined nickname, The Process.
I'm always less inclined to use a nickname that somebody self-imposed. I'm not gonna lie. But
I love it. I love because it's like, if the fans come up with it, it's like, okay, well, the fans gave it to me. I'm going to roll with it. But no, it's like, no, I'm going to push that my nickname is this. It's like, okay, yeah, come on, man.
It's hard for me to support that, but
right. But yeah, so Tim, you'd mentioned this earlier in the podcast. I kind of want to talk about this a little bit because even though we are covering NBA, we may end up covering college football one season in the future. So you were able to watch some of the Georgia-Alabama national championship game.
I watched the whole game.
The whole game? Because I remember you texted me and you said that your Wi-Fi went out as soon as the game started. I tried to plead with you, like, please just don't watch it because last time you watched, Alabama beat Georgia in the SEC championship.
The only game I watched in college football this year was the only game that Georgia lost. Prior to the championship, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, my Wi-Fi went out literally as soon as the game, like they were doing the coin toss and then my Wi-Fi went out. I was like, wow, cool.
And you texted me.
I trusted the process. No, I just waited.
Boo.
I just waited for about 10 minutes and it cleared up and watched the whole game.
So as not a sports fan, as not a college football guy, what made you want to watch this one-off random game? Well, it's not random, obviously. It's
Well,
the
it's
national
not random.
championship.
Right, and that's why I watch it. I mean, and that's why I want to get into sports is the energy behind it. Everybody is talking about it, right? Or everybody was, but they still are, I guess, now, celebrating. It's hard not to like get excited about something like that, even if you're not like super familiar with the sport or with the team. So, which I will say, we've talked about my history with basketball. I also played football in high school for
We've
1
mentioned
year.
that too. We did mention
Did we?
that in one
Okay.
episode.
Well, it was not a pleasant experience for me, but
Star quarterback.
I do know the game somewhat. But no, I don't really track along with is it just called NCAA? I don't even know.
Yeah, NCAA college football. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, but I don't really keep up with that. But I mean, it's hard for me not to get excited, and I wanted to know. I mean, everybody that I know is a Georgia fan,
right?
Pretty much. And I didn't want to come to work not knowing it, or not being excited if they were excited, or being down in the dumps if they weren't. Unfortunately, we all get to celebrate.
Good morning, everyone. And just like,
well, it's funny because the last time that Georgia was in the final whatever it's called, final
the
game,
SEC championship. There you go.
Okay. Well, the last, which you and I worked together that at that point in time,
right?
And I didn't watch the game, and I remember coming in, just not really thinking anything of it, and it was a depressing place. Like I still remember that. Like everybody was just so miserable.
Wow.
And I didn't want to. I wanted to be a part of the misery, if nothing else.
Or at least like kind of fake the misery as you walk. Like at least this time you would have known why everybody was down.
Exactly. I could have at least seen like how bad we lost or whatever. But fortunately, we didn't have to. But I mean, just to go back to it, like the whole thing with sports, I would argue most people, I mean, at least for myself, it's really about just being a part of something bigger than yourself. And I mean, this was the opportune moment to like jump on board. I tried to do that with the World Series.
Okay.
I mean, and that's a little bit more difficult for me. Baseball is definitely not my forte, and it's a series, right? So there's multiple games. I watched a little bit of some games, but I really kind of feel like I missed out in a lot of ways. I didn't get to see the final game and like them actually secure their victory. And it was weird. Like I got to work and everybody was so excited. And I saw the news headlines that we won, but like I couldn't really like relish in that, and that was actually part of where the conception of this podcast came from. Cause I was like, man, I hate this feeling where, everybody around me is celebrating and talking about this thing that I really don't, I'm not a part of that. And I want, so that ironically was, kind of what sparked this idea. And here we are. And so I just didn't want to miss that opportunity again, and sure enough, the Dogs took home the championship.
Did you feel excited about it? Like, did you feel like that was your team that you were watching, or was it more so just like, here's two teams. I know most of my friends and peers like this team, but
I mean, I was certainly rooting for Georgia. I didn't feel like a certain affection necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I was excited when they were playing good. I was not when they weren't, or when Alabama scored their touchdown or their field goals and stuff like that. Like, it's definitely not where I want to be. Like, I don't know. I say that to an extent, but then I don't want to be so invested that it ruins my
because some people it's like that for them. If they watch a game and their team loses, they're not talking to anybody. They're off in their room, door shut. I don't want to hear anything. I'm not going on social media. Like that is
I don't want to be that person.
Right. And I think to an extent you can somewhat control that as a sports fan. I mean, obviously if you're invested to that point, like that team is your life. You've dedicated your entire life around it. But I feel like to the average sports fan, it's not that serious. But I mean, there is an extent to be like, I'm upset because we lost and I want to improve. And, some people take to social media and they'll comment and they'll send out tweets, or they'll send out, like I said, comments on posts and say, y'all suck, or we've got to fix this or fire this person. So, I mean, there's a reasonable amount to be upset about. And then it's like overboard where it's like, I'm not talking to anybody for a week.
Right.
So,
which is an interesting concept as well, like to kind of take it to that level. So, after the game, they were interviewing Stetson
Bennett, UGA quarterback.
And you and I were actually texting about it a little bit back and forth, and I kind of made some jokes, and I was, kind of thinking he seemed very arrogant in that interview, and it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But afterwards, I got to thinking that, especially for college players versus like professional who've like been exposed for a little bit, especially somebody like him who like he wasn't even really their star quarterback until this year. He hasn't been in the spotlight, and then he was thrust into it. And this is arguably one of the bigger national championships ever, because I mean, from what I understand, like Alabama and Georgia are probably the two biggest football states, for college, at least.
Right.
Maybe Ohio's up there. I don't know. I know a lot of people love high school football in Texas, but all that aside, like these are the two teams. And like, even I work with a guy who's big into sports gambling. I won't say his name for legality reasons, but he was saying that
money? He owes money.
No, he bet on the dogs. He bet on the dogs. But, but he was saying that, which part of this is because sports gambling has become legal in a lot of states here.
Right.
But this is the biggest game ever been bet on.
Wow.
Which I just thought was
that.
interesting. Yeah. So at least legally. I mean, I'm sure
there
have been other games that you can't keep track of that stuff.
Exactly.
But all that to say, like for somebody like Stetson Bennett, there's just a lot of pressure on him. And like I was kind of hard on him, like my thoughts, and I don't know what it's like to be in his shoes, right? So like I shouldn't really be judging him, but I was like, I got to thinking, and you were talking about like how sports can really affect people, and people come couch coaches and that kind of thing. And like it's a little unfair for the players, and you hear about people, athletes going kind of crazy, losing their mind. And I know there's kind of a big push for like mental health for athletes right now. And I think that's super important. And I mean, like I said, I can't imagine what it's like. And I don't know, it's just an interesting thought that somebody I can understand it to an extent, like, then this is my team and I want to support them. But like, to like thrust your frustrations on them, and like, especially with social media, like it's just so intense.
It's like, we get it, you're a fan, but is it really, I mean, you have the right to throw out these comments, but at the end of the day, like, come on, you're not part of the coaching staff. You can make observations as a fan, but when you're out here, there's like memes that go around that are like pictures of like really like overweight guys sitting on the couch eating Cheetos, and like it's captioned like, I would have been out there, I would have caught that ball or something like that. But it's like, people are going to sit here and say these ridiculous comments, but in reality, they wouldn't last a second out there on the field like these other guys are. So, you make a good point. But yeah, I mean, I think kind of going back to what you said earlier about just wanting to be involved with conversation, and that's really kind of been a factor that's kind of like driven you to want to be a sports fan, is to be a part of something bigger, experience something with a group of people like your coworkers or your friends, and be able to come in and just have conversations, or like if they're excited, you can share that excitement with them. But yeah, I mean, this Georgia national championship win it's their first championship win in 41 years. So everyone around here has just been super excited. Like you said, Stetson Bennett seemed like a tool during his postgame interview.
That's harsh.
What'd you say?
I said that's harsh.
Well, didn't you said he seemed like...
I did say that. But
you were going to try to pin it on me.
But I came into the podcast apologizing for it. I was trying not to...
Well, yeah, you did apologize for it. But at the same time, like, I don't think he was really prepared to answer questions at that time. Like I feel like he was so flustered. But at the end of the day, Georgia won the game. They had a stonewall defense. Their offense was on fire. They were the better team this year, and so Georgia took home the victory. And we can all celebrate here in Georgia.
I would just want to say, too, we haven't done this, but I want to thank, we've got listeners from a lot of different states. I'm sorry if you guys, aren't Georgia fans. And,
Right.
This whole 20 minutes might have been just really frustrating for you. I'm so sorry, but we do appreciate you listening. Yeah. So I don't have the analytics pulled up, but we've got a few different states. So
we do have a few different states, and I think I've actually made it a point, or at least I've tried to make it a point to not make it like a sports or a Georgia sports podcast. Like I try not to talk about the Hawks too much, but like it is my team, so I try to mention them where I can because I am knowledgeable on that team more so than other teams. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Please take a second to share the podcast with a friend, family member,
right now
on your social media page.
You don't even have to pause the podcast. We're going to give you 10 seconds of silence, so you're not going to miss any content. Go ahead, share us on some sort of social media some way. I'm not a social media guy, guys. That should be our next podcast, actually. But anyways, the 10 seconds of silence begins now.
It's not really silent. It's
come on. I promise silence, Jacob.
So you think they're not sharing it right now because it's not silent? Okay, we're gonna move on. We've got a good show for you guys. We've got the weekly wager. We've got the NBA recap. We had some college football talk for you. We just want to show that we're versatile here and not a Sports Guy podcast. Yeah. We're gonna cover.
This is not a basketball podcast. We just happen to be
this season. It just happens to be right. All right, Tim. You know what to do. You know what time it is. You claim that this is why everybody comes and listens every single week.
Reason right here.
It's the weekly wager. Tim's 5-0, y'all. I feel like every week I just come back into it and it's just like Tim's won another wager.
Hey, let's talk about it though. You don't have a 0 points on the board anymore. So
unfortunately, Tim won 2 again, but I did win 2 because Tim was gracious enough to give me the opportunity to win a bonus point last week. So Tim has won 5.
I do want to point out that I retrospectively set up the wager this last week. Did not intentionally make it where we both had the opportunity to win. That won't be happening in the future, generally speaking, as the wagers have, like prior to this past week, our wagers will be set to where we are wagering against each other in some form or fashion. This was a little mix up and we both just happen to benefit from it, which is good for Jacob because he needed that confidence.
I needed that week. I needed the 2 wins, the 2 points on the board. And honestly, this week's my week to make the wager. And I kept finding myself wanting to do something similar to what you created last week. I kept finding and putting together wagers that we could both win. And it's just like, I'd made 3 or 4 wagers and I was like, come on, what are you doing? Like there has to be a clear winner, a clear loser. We talked about this. So I did my best. Hopefully this week it'll be a fun wager for us, but to kind of catch up everybody, last week, Tim made a wager for us. We had to basically pick, the over under and also which team would win in 2 separate matchups. So Tim bet that the Magic would lose to the Wizards on Wednesday night's game, and the game would be under 16 points for the over-under. Well, Tim won both. The Wizards did win, and they won with the over-under under 16. So congratulations, Tim. How do you feel? I mean, you won 2 points. So not only did I win 2 points, but it almost just kind of canceled each other out because you also won 2. So
let's just go back to 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's where we're at still.
Yeah. No, I feel good though. I really am proud of that because we ended up picking each other's teams
Right.
in kind of a twist of fate, if you will, and talk. I'm tired, guys. I've been prepping for this.
He's been prepping for
this
the interview
for a week.
For one whole week.
The interview was today, but I'm just reeling. However, you picked the Magic for me, not really knowing what it was, but that was actually a tougher week for me. I mean, we played the Pistons. And then we played the Magic twice, or the Wizards twice, excuse me.
Right.
And I played that the Magic would lose the second game, but the first game it was like a 2-point game, and I was like,
yeah, it was even closer.
Like was it a 1-point game?
It was a 2-point.
You're just saying
I'm just saying, like, it was closer than tonight's game.
Yeah, well, it had me worried. I was like, man, I mean, I know the Magic was going to be playing at the Wizards, which helped.
Right.
And fortunately, that did kind of but it was close. It was close.
Hey, the Magic lost both games, so it didn't even matter which game you picked. Honestly, you were going to win the wager either way. So you won 2 points because you bet that the Magic would lose, and they did, and you also bet that the over/under would be under 16, which it was. So there you go. You won 2 points. Tim is 5-0, or 5 points. To 0 losses, I guess I should say. Sorry, I was getting a little mixed up there. And then my bet was that the Suns would beat the Clippers on Thursday night's game last week, and the game would be over 11 points victory margin. And I ended up winning both of those wagers as well. That was a little bit more controversial of a pick there with the over on 11 points.
Yeah, it was a bit risky. I think it was a pretty good bet that the Suns were going to win,
right?
But yeah, you did. You went on you went out on a limb on the over 11.
Yeah, and because the Clippers, definitely haven't been a team that a lot of people thought would be competing right now, because I've mentioned this so many times. Kawhi Leonard's out, Paul George is out, and so a lot of teams think that a lot of people would think that the Clippers wouldn't be performing as well, but that is absolutely not the case. The Clippers are performing every single night. They for a minute here in the Suns game made it a tight game, and but turns out within probably the last 5 minutes in the fourth quarter, the Suns went up, I think, by 14, and that ended up being the margin of victory. So I won my first 2 wagers of the season. I'm absolutely pumped up about it.
I'm proud of you.
I appreciate it, because I'm supposed to be the one that's getting the wagers right. And then you're supposed to be the one that's struggling a little bit.
Yeah, I'm the one who's supposed to not know what's going on here. Maybe I'm just hustling you. Maybe I'm truly like a sports phenom.
Imagine that. We go through, let's say, 3 seasons of the podcast, and the whole time I'm thinking I'm the one that's teaching you, but little do we know you're the one that's just full of knowledge.
You're saying what I want you to say, but you just don't know it.
Is this like a Jedi mind trick on me? A lot of people didn't see that. You swiped your fingers across the screen.
I'm supposed to say something, though. I think I'm not a big Star Wars guy. You're not a big Star Wars guy. Yeah. What are you making a Star Wars?
It just came to mind.
You don't even know.
Maybe I'm Jedi mind tricking you. You ever thought about that?
This just got really meta. I feel like we're in the Matrix. Let's just talk about all the
The new Matrix movie came out recently.
Yeah, we're gonna change gears here, guys. You ready?
Not a movie guy.
We tried that once.
Let's not talk about it. This week's wager is called the Morant Special.
Ooh, all right. It's got a name.
It's called the Morant Special.
You know me, I'm a big Ja Morant guy. So
we spent a lot of time talking about Ja Morant and the Grizzlies last episode. So I said, why not? This week's wager, we are going to be wagering and guessing on Ja Morant's total points scored for this week of games. Okay?
Starting on Friday.
On Friday. During this week of games, he plays the Mavericks, the Bulls, and the Bucks. So the Mavericks isn't as big of a game, but the Bulls game is going to be big, and the Bucks game is going to be big. Ja Morant averages 24.7 points a game. we've kind of covered last week that he was putting up points in the 30s and 40s up against some of the bigger teams. So our wager this week, we are going to guess a total points scored of him throughout these 3 games.
Okay.
And whoever comes closest will win the wager.
Now, if we go over, is that like a bust or?
Well, it all comes down to who was closest. So let's say he scores
either way.
Yeah, let's say he scores 150 points, and I think 140. You think 130. I'm closer, so I win that.
Okay, but what if you bet like 93 points and I bet 91 points, and he scored 92?
Then I guess we can do like a rock, paper, scissors to see
okay.
who kind of wins that one.
All right.
I didn't think that part would be possible. If that part was possible, I say we both win a point for the wager. How about that?
But we'll still
we can
do
go
rock,
to
paper, scissors,
tiebreaker
right?
because I have a bonus point for us to be able to win this week.
Okay.
The bonus point is going to be the total assists that he gets at the end of these 3 games. So,
sheesh.
Whoever wins this first wager, which would be the total points, you have a chance to win a bonus point as well.
So if you don't win the first, you can't. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. So if I lose the total points wager, I can't win the bonus, and neither can you.
Can I get the average of rebounds?
No. It will be irrelevant to this wager.
What?
Yeah, it's going to be irrelevant because the bonus is for assists. So I'm not sure really why you would want to get his average
I was just
on
making
rebounds.
Sure paying attention. Because that's for the second extra credit point.
Okay. You get an extra credit or an extra credit. He is averaging 6.7 assists. So he's averaging 6.7 assists. Don't pull out your calculator, Tim. This is just all pure speculation. Okay. I'm going to go first with my pick. I'm totally just going off the top right here, not even thinking. I didn't come prepared
with his calculator in hand after he calls me out. It's cool.
I'm just adding. I'm going to be adding up all of these points. So for the Mavericks game, I think he's going to put.
Do we have to bet each game?
No, not each game. Just, it's total. So I'm just adding up. So I'm just working some numbers in my head here.
Okay.
Mavericks, I think he'll score that number. Bulls game, I think he's going to put up that number. And then the Bucks, I think he's going to put up, let's go, that number. So my total points for those games comes out to 88.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't do all that kind of like deep calculation per game.
Okay.
I'm going 82.
Ooh, all right.
82.
So we've got a 6-point difference there. I don't know how I feel about this, Tim. I feel like for some reason I just don't feel confident. I just feel like you're going to win it again all of a sudden.
It doesn't matter what I said. I've just got such a strong history of winning these that anything I say is going to put doubt in you. So.
You literally could have said 14 points because he's going to get into COVID protocols the last 2 games, and I would have believed you. I'd have been like, what? Somehow
we don't want to wish that on anybody, much less Ja Morant.
Of course not. But with that being said, Tim, what is going to be your total assists number for these 3 games?
18 assists.
18?
And 15 rebounds.
We're not doing a second extra credit here. So you think 18 assists?
18 assists. And he's going to have 4 blocks.
No. That's for the 4th extra credit. Let's see. I'm going to go
2 technicals. We'll get 2 technicals.
We're going to go 5 one game. The next game, he's going to get 10, so that's 15.
Ooh.
And then the next game, he's going to go... would it be cheap if I went 17?
No, that's fine.
Okay. I'm actually going to go 17.
Okay.
So there we go. The wager has been set, everybody. Tim's pick is John Morant will score 82 total points across these 3 games. I went with 88. Tim's bet for assists is 18, and my bet is 17. So with that being said, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in. That's going to be the end of the first half of the episode. Let's take a break. Wow, Tim, that break was really nice. I just want to, again, I know I do this often, but just, again, thank you to all the sponsors that are with us, that are...
You make this joke every time, but like one day we're going to have sponsors and we'll probably insert those right there.
Right.
And there will be really sponsors. But then like those sponsors will go back and listen to our episodes and they're like, why are they making fun of us? I don't understand.
No, I mean,
they're going to stop sponsoring us.
No. That's not my intentions. I wasn't trying to keep them from I wasn't trying to make fun of them. If anything, it's just making fun of us because we don't have the sponsors yet. But believe me, Tim, they are coming soon, and we're excited to have them be a part of the podcast whenever they decide they're ready.
Fair enough.
How do you feel, Tim? We're about halfway through this thing. You feel like we should keep going, or you want to kind of...
Absolutely. Just as a recap, as we're moving into the recap, I didn't even mean to do that, but I didn't watch any basketball this week. I have no idea what's going on in the NBA.
So all of this knowledge that I'm about to drop on you will just be fresh. You've got no clue that any of this has happened.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on.
All right. Well, then, with that being said, let's jump in to the NBA recap. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody.
Ooh, don't do that. Nope.
You've kind of gotten in my head, Tim. You've told me plenty times in the past. I just love the way that you bring us back into the podcast.
Just do what you do. Don't throw in these weird, like, whatever that was.
You've tainted my brain with these just expectations, and now I'm just kind of nervous to bring us back into any sort of segment because now I'm just like worried that...
I think you have a chemical imbalance, actually. Probably from burning your finger in the freezer.
Never happened.
No, can we talk about that real quick? I just want our listeners to know. Well, they need to be aware. There's a serious danger out there.
Just in case there's no upload next week.
We were about to record, guys. We had sat down. We actually hit the record button, and then Jacob said, "Hold on." And I was screaming at him. I was like, "You can't leave. We're recording." And the next thing I hear is him screaming bloody murder. I can't see him.
If you're wondering what that sounded like, this is what it was. Oh!
Nice.
So, I basically got up because Tim had clicked record, obviously, and we were trying to jump into the episode. And next thing you know, I hear my ice maker going off in the background. Anyone with an ice maker, probably knows the struggles. It'll make a little ticking sound right before the ice cubes drop down into the, I guess.
Okay, so you were just trying to like loosen them up, let them go ahead.
Right. So I went over. I told Tim. I said, "Wait 1 second. I got to get up. I got to, obviously that's going to be an issue with sound, and I don't want everyone hearing the ticking noise."
Okay, I didn't know why you're okay.
So I get up. I go over. I open the freezer. I look and I'm just like, I turn it off, and then the ice it's still making the ticking noise. I'm like, what's going on? So I was like, it's probably because the ice hasn't dropped down yet. So I, get my hand. I tried to like tap it from underneath to try to get the ice to fall. And when I did that, there's apparently a heating coil in the ice maker and freezers that heats up whenever the ice cubes are about to drop down. And I burned my finger. On it. So I was just kind of...
I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm just kidding. No, I do feel for you. I gotta give you a hard
it hurt. I screamed. Clarissa came running, and what happened? And it's just...
If you want to know what that sounded like.
This is what that was.
What happened? You what? Burned yourself?
So yeah, my finger's okay. I'm actually doing better now, Tim. We had to kind of pause
good.
everything for a second, but I'm good. So maybe there is some sort of chemical imbalance.
Did your fiance offer to get you some ice?
Klay Thompson returned this week.
Hold on. I forgot. Okay, it's not even working. Oh, there we go. Thanks, crickets. Thank you guys for your service. You can go back now.
Right. It's like we have a freaking box of crickets just ready. It's like, come on, work. Just do it real quick.
All right, Klay Thompson.
Klay Thompson returned this past Sunday. The Warriors ended up going on to win against the Cavs 96-82. He played approximately 20 minutes. He scored 17 points in his returns, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. So I was basically going to ask you, are you excited for his return? I mean, I know we talked a little bit about it last week. We're asking who's going to make a bigger impact, Kyrie or Klay. I kind of went with Kyrie, but man, it was just so exciting to see Klay Thompson return. He returned.
Did they play at home?
Yep, at home.
So I bet that felt a lot more like grand than Kyrie's return.
You've got to go watch some highlights from his return.
Watch it, yeah.
It's honestly, it gives you chills when you see it because it's just like, man, we've been waiting so long for Klay to come back, and finally he's back. It's just, he's probably going to turn into one of my favorite players just from watching him play. Like he kind of was able to do a little bit of everything. He drove, he did layups, did dunks, did three. I mean, you name it, he was a part of everything. So it was really exciting to see him come back. So hopefully you'll get to watch him play a little bit this year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I was definitely excited about him coming back. So I hate that I missed that.
No, yeah.
But I'll definitely go watch the highlights.
Yes, I definitely would recommend anybody, not only Tim, anybody, if you missed the Klay Thompson return, definitely go check it out. But next up, Tim, I'm actually going to ask you, I don't know if you have the show doc open real quick or open up right now, but if you could open it up, because this segment has a picture with it. Don't look at the picture just yet. Did you already look at it?
Well, kind of vaguely, but
okay,
it's fine.
Okay, so don't look at it. And if you're at home listening or you're in the car listening, I definitely want you to be able to take a look at this if you haven't seen it already when we get to it. But anyways, Dirk Nowitzki had his jersey retirement ceremony for the Dallas Mavericks this past week. I'm not sure. Are you familiar with who Dirk Nowitzki is, Tim?
Are you saying Nowitzki or Nowinski?
So it's pronounced Nowitzki. Dirk Nowitzki.
Okay.
Dirk Nowitzki. I'm pretty sure it's Nowitzki.
I don't know.
Gosh,
maybe.
if I'm wrong,
kind of like Wagner. Hey, no, it's okay. Wagner.
Well, I knew how to pronounce his name.
Franz Wagner. Yeah, I've heard his name, Dirk Nowitzki's name. Well, but I heard it differently. Incorrectly, apparently.
No, what if I'm wrong? Now you have me second guessing myself. I've always said Dirk.
We'll just call him Dirk.
Yeah, good old Dirk.
When in doubt, just use the first name, just like my boy Evan.
Your boy Evan Mobley, who's back at the top of the ladder. Spoiler alert.
Skirt.
And Scotty Barnes is down to 3. Skirt.
Franz Wagner is number 2.
Cade Cunningham, actually.
Ooh, man, wow! What happened to Franz?
I told you he was just a placeholder while everybody was on COVID protocols. So
that's
now
crazy.
He's back down.
What about? Hold on. What about my guy,
Scotty?
No.
Oh no.
Where's he at?
The Thunder from Down Under. Josh Giddey. I'm sorry. Every time 5? You do the Thunder, I have to do that. I actually don't know if he's still top 5. Surely he is.
Doesn't matter.
I can't think of another.
We're getting off topic here. I'm sorry.
Dirk.
Me
we were going to talk about Dirk. All the Mavericks fans were excited. We were going to talk about Dirk, and here we are going back to the rookie ladder.
Do you know where Dirk is from?
No, but actually, I can look that up for you real quick.
Well,
I've got the
because
ability.
I wonder if he and wow, I can't.
He is German. He is from Germany.
Okay. Germany. Well, I was just.
What
thinking,
was that? Can we go back and revisit what you just said? Germany.
No. What's our guy who plays for the Mavs now? Like, what's their play?
Kristaps Porzingis.
Nope, that's not who I was actually thinking.
Luka Doncic.
Luka Doncic.
He is Slovenian.
Okay. They were just very. I mean, I'm not I feel like this is going to sound like it,
Just
geographically insensitive.
They like their white European guys.
Yeah, I mean so but they're probably not anything similar.
Hey, they're saying there's a formula here. We don't have to fix it. Obviously, they play well with the Mavericks. I don't know.
It's true.
So, but yeah.
But is that intentional? No, for real, is that intentional from the Mavericks? Like,
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Okay.
It's been a running joke though. How people they'll say how the Mavericks just love white European guys on their team. So
yeah. Well, you say that it works, but have they won a championship recently?
Not recently, but they did with Dirk.
I
think it was in 2011. So
okay, that's not too far.
10 years.
I mean, that's not too far away. Long ago.
Yeah, and I think with Luka, they may have a chance to win another one. So
yeah,
we'll see if it works. Who knows? But as I was saying, Dirk, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Whenever it is his turn to be a Hall of Famer, he will be in as soon as he is eligible. He's also a Mavericks legend.
What does first ballot mean?
Tim, this isn't NBA 101. This is
sorry.
NBA
Save
recap.
It for NBA 101. Okay, sorry.
I'm just kidding.
Teacher.
I can tell you. Do you want me to? It's a quick answer.
No.
I mean, I wouldn't want to save this.
Well, you made it a big deal. So.
I'm sorry. I just thought, we have a segment for it. We're always trying to find questions. So obviously, after you get done playing and you retire from the NBA, there is a buffer period where you have to wait to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I don't know how many years. I'm going to guess it's maybe 3 to 5 years, maybe. Okay. And basically, when you call someone a first ballot Hall of Famer, it just means as soon as they're eligible, they will go into it. Because some people, it takes them years and years and years to get into the Hall of Fame. But Dirk is just one of those legends that as soon as he's eligible to be in, he'll be in. So that's what that means. But he played with the Mavs from 1998 to 2019. So that is just an incredibly long time. He is 6th on the NBA scoring list with 31 of all time. Number 6 with 31,560 points. He's a 14-time All-Star. He's an MVP. He's an NBA champion, and he leads the Mavs in all-time threes, rebounds, and blocks. So I just wanted to kind of preface all of this with how legendary Dirk is, not only in the NBA, but also to the Mavs. But now, if you don't mind, Tim, pulling out the show doc and looking at the statue that they have presented him, the owner of the Mavericks said that this was going to be a statue that they eventually put outside of the stadium. But this is just...
so this is like full... Or
this is like a trophy size, like something you can hold.
But they're going to make it life size.
I'm pretty sure that's the goal.
Okay.
So kind of give me your thoughts on this.
I'm confused by the 3 balls.
Why? Why put the 3 balls? We get it. He's shooting, but why? Just imagine, take away those 2 balls at the top and just have the one in his hand. That's a good trophy or a good statue.
Or, I mean, they could take the 2 at the bottom and just have that little streak moving. You know what I mean? Moving up to the 1 at the top.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. That could maybe work.
Yeah, and just have his hands form differently. But yeah, either way would have been better than this. It's very bizarre. I mean, otherwise it's a fine statue, I guess.
Yeah. But why? What's going through the head of the statue creator? Think about how much extra material that is to form 2 extra balls on top.
Right. Well, I mean, you have to think. I do you make statues? I don't make statues. I don't make.
Few. Just kidding.
Okay. Fair. I'm sorry. I don't want to step on your toes. I mean, they have a job to. He's trying to create motion where there is none. So, I mean, it's a weird take on it, but I guess that's kind of the thought process. And I don't know. I mean, because I think if the ball was just in Dirk's hands and there wasn't other 2, it could also look like a rebound. He could be coming down with the ball.
But his form, I think, says it all.
Yeah, maybe.
But tell me this:
for someone like you who knows him and knows basketball, but I don't know.
Tell me right now, Tim. You're a legend in the NBA. You're a legend for this organization. they say, we're going to make a statue of you. And then they unveil and it's this. What do you do?
I don't have any statues after me. I'll take it. It's not offensive, I guess.
Do you think they did it for like the reaction online? Because a lot of people are talking about like, why did they put 3 balls there?
That's interesting. I don't know. I mean, man, that's such an interesting dynamic that 10, 20 years ago you never had to think about. But yeah, I mean, so many actions made today over numerous, things. A lot of it could be for internet reaction. That's an interesting point. I don't know. Yeah. Surely that wasn't intentional, but who knows?
We'll see. We'll see what they actually do with it on the bigger version of it. But anyways, next up, we have an update, Tim, for the NBA All-Star voting. Basically, they what they do is they will give us updates every once in a while on who's leading with the most votes. So I kind of wanted to go over some of the players that are leading the All-Star votes. So let's start with the West, the guards. Steph Curry is the number 1 voted guard so far with over 2 million votes. Number 2 is Luka Doncic. With 787,000. I mean, that's a big gap from 2 million to 787,000 votes.
Wow. Yeah.
And then number 3 is Ja Morant with 669,000. And then number 4, Klay Thompson with 367,000.
Wow. Dude comes back in a week.
But that's what I'm saying. Remember when we talked about the All-Star voting system, I was saying, is it an actual viable option? Because some players, remember you had brought up Anthony Davis. You wouldn't have voted for him because he's been hurt for so many games.
Right.
Klay Thompson just played his first game on Sunday, but he's 4th in votes on the All-Star game for guards.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe I know I'm going to sound hypocritical here. I recant my previous statement, but Klay Thompson is deserving of it. He's a phenomenal player. Sure, he hasn't been playing, but that doesn't mean that he's any less deserving of being an all-star, and so maybe I could say the same for Anthony Davis. I'm not familiar enough with him to really put my stamp of approval on that, but I don't know. I mean, I'm okay with it, but maybe that's just because I'm a Klay Thompson fan.
Think about some of these other guards that have been grinding, that have been playing every single game,
right?
That have been doing well, and then there's a player like Klay who hasn't played at all, but he's got more votes than you do, but
right.
just because he's popular.
I reversed my statement again.
And this is no hate on Klay. I love him as a player. Obviously, he's good enough to be an all-star, but I almost feel like he would be stealing somebody's all-star vote or position this year if he makes it in. So,
yeah.
Here are some of the leaders of the front court. We have LeBron James with 2 million votes.
LeBron
James. Number 2, Nikola Jokic with 1.6 million votes. And then number 3, Paul George with 1 million votes.
Who is also not playing, correct?
He just got hurt a few weeks ago. So, again, that'll be interesting to see how that all works out. And by the way, if they are injured and the All-Star game happens and they do get voted as a starter, they will get swapped out with somebody if they're injured during the game.
Sure. I wouldn't think that they're just.
Well, I know.
Hey, look, I know you tore your meniscus, but you got voted in. Come on now.
You're getting on this court and you're playing.
And how many people is on per team? Do they have is it a 10-man team, 11-man team?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. That's something I'll definitely have to look up.
All right.
But here we go for the East. Our leading guard. Are you looking at this, Tim? If not, I want you to guess. Okay, you are looking. So the first guard. I can guess.
Okay. DeMar DeRozan.
How did you know?
I'm that good.
1.4 million votes for DeMar DeRozan. I think that's deserving. The number 2.
I just going to do this because you do this to me all the time. You're a big DeMar DeRozan fan, aren't you?
Why are you going to call me out like that? I am.
No, I know for real though. Fan. I mean, yeah, you talk about him a lot. On and off the air. So yeah.
He is so good. He's proving, he's already proven himself as a good player in the league before this year, but this year he is on fire. Absolutely love DeMar DeRozan.
Do you know how long he's been in the league?
I don't know, but I know that he's played for the Raptors. I know he's played for the Spurs. Let me see. DeMar DeRozan, let's see, comes out that he has been in the league since 2009. So he's been
Wow,
in
okay.
the league
He's a
for
vet.
13 years, it says.
Has he historically played like this well? I feel like he's just obviously. I mean, the Bulls are killing it right now.
He's on another level right now, but I mean, when he played on the Raptors, he was doing really well. I mean, he even did well with the Spurs for the short stint that he was there. But I mean, I think this year is definitely probably one of the better years of his career. So, and that's me saying that without really knowing any stats on his career. So,
Okay,
don't quote me on that. But number 2 guard is James
writing it down.
Harden, 892,000 votes. Number 3, Trae Young, 862,000 votes. And then the front court for the East, we have KD with 2.3 million votes, the highest voted player so
right,
far.
and that's I don't know what I'm missing. I don't know. Like, I mean, he's good. I don't know. I want to like. I'm literally thinking to myself, I want to like him more than I do.
Right.
I need to.
I mean, he's obviously a leading scorer in the league, leading scorer for the Nets. I mean, what can you not like about the guy? I mean, he is a competitor through and through. So
yeah, maybe it's just. Well, I don't know.
Don't say the flashiness.
It's not even that. It's not even that. It's not even that. He's the leading scorer, and then the Nets just continue to be subpar. That's what's frustrating. It's like when Steph is on, it might be a competitive game, but it's like, okay, the Warriors are gonna win this.
Yeah.
Like there's just an excitement level there. But with KD, I just don't feel that. I don't know what it is, you know?
Yeah. No, I feel what you're saying.
I don't think it's necessarily the flashiness, really. It's just like, cool, he's scoring 30 points, but like, does that give me confidence that the Nets are going to win? No.
Yeah. I mean, I think it comes down to the team chemistry. I mean, KD can put up all the points he wants, but if they're not playing well as a team, then they're going to lose. You bring up Steph Curry. I mean, the Warriors are a good team. So, yes, he's putting up this many points, but they're also, well-oiled machine. Steph's got some zestiness to him where he's going to be able to score points day in, day out and still get those wins. But KD, I think it just has something to do with the Nets, honestly. Something to do with the Nets.
Maybe that's all it is.
And the other 2 members of the front court with the most votes is Giannis Antetokounmpo and Joel Embiid, the process.
The process. With 1.2. Okay, so he's up there too.
All that group right there had a lot of votes. So between those 3 players. But yeah, so there's your NBA All-Star update. This next thing we're going to talk about is kind of weird. I'm kind of interested to hear what you're going to say about this. The Wizards announcer apologizes to Kevin Porter Jr. The Washington announcer Glenn Costner apologizes to the Wizards player after making a comment after Kevin Porter Jr.'s game-winning 3. On the air, he said, "You got to give him credit. Kevin Porter Jr., like his dad, pulled that trigger right at the right time." Kevin Porter Jr.'s father reportedly pleaded guilty to manslaughter in the shooting death of a teenager in 1993. And he goes, "You got to give him credit. Just like his daddy pulled that trigger right at the right time."
My goodness. Wow.
I mean,
that feels like so thought out, like that guy
he thought
did some
about
research.
that.
Yeah, he did. Like, that's not like something that just like, oh, I can't believe I just said that. Like he was waiting for the right moment. That was a terrible call.
For Kevin Porter Jr. to hit a game winner all season.
Goodness. That's awful.
So this may change the way you think about it. The announcer came out and said he mistakenly thought that Kevin Porter Jr. was the son of the former Washington player, Kevin Porter. So that kind of makes the situation a little bit.
So it was a completely different person.
A completely different person that played for the Wizards. I don't know how many years ago, but the announcer thought that Kevin Porter Jr. was the Washington player, Kevin Porter's son.
Okay. That sounds more plausible, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because like I said, he had to have either like done some research because it sounds like that. Well, you said it was 1993,
Right.
so that's not like current news, and everybody's
Right.
talking about it. And then he's like, "Well, let me make a joke." So yeah, that's probably more likely.
Right. But
Just an
still, it's just
unfortunate coincidence.
how unfortunate of a coincidence is that? Like, imagine you're saying that without that like intention, of
Yeah, no
course. And
context.
then
Yeah,
just after the game, you're just looking at, social media and everyone's just like, how could you? I mean, even
yeah.
LeBron retweeted it saying like, no, like we can't allow this in the league, basically stuff like that, like criticizing
But
the
okay,
announcer.
but if there was a Washington player,
This was prior to the announcer's apology, though. So I don't know if LeBron maybe didn't know that there was a player named Kevin Porter for the Washington Wizards a while
okay,
back. So
all right,
we'll move on from that. But speaking of
Mm.
LeBron, he moved up to number 10 on NBA all-time steals list with 2,100 steals. Chris Paul is actually currently number 5 on that list
Ooh, let's go,
at
Chris Paul.
2,400 steals. But that's not the only record that LeBron broke this past week. He also moved up to 7th in NBA all-time assists with 9,888. And funny enough, Chris Paul is currently at 3 on that list with
My goodness.
10,665 assists. So just
So why does Chris Paul not get the recognition that I mean, he does. He's on the top 75, but I don't know. Like it just sounds like
he hasn't won a
he-
championship. I mean, he just hasn't completed that part of his career yet. And
But do you think if he did this year, would he be LeBron status? Probably not.
I mean, he's up there as one of the modern legends in the game. I mean, he obviously
know.
is up on these lists super high. I mean, he's broken a lot of records. And I think the past few years, he just kind of like moved from team to team. He hasn't really found like his like grounding anywhere, but now with the Suns, he's here and he's made a finals run last year. They're obviously going to push for a finals run this year. So I mean, I think really it's just that one thing, that championship. He just hasn't won one yet, and I think that's a lot of the reason why people maybe don't regard him as highly. But I mean, people do recognize though that he is a modern day legend.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So. Last on the docket here, we've got power ranking craziness I put on there because not only did a few extra teams get into the top 5, but the Nets even fell further. They were at 6 last week. Now they're at 8th. It's just going downhill for the Nets. Sorry, I took a piece of my headphone off and it kind of made me mispronounce my word there.
Okay.
Can you do the rewind for me?
Go. I'm calling behind, aren't I?
Yeah, so the power ranking craziness, we've got number 1 Golden State Warriors with a record of 30-10, but number 2, the Memphis Grizzlies coming in at 29-14.
Let's go.
They actually beat the Warriors last night. Yeah, they beat the Warriors last night. And so
with
that
fully rostered Warriors,
fully rostered.
right?
You got Klay. You had, yeah. So it was a big matchup. The Grizzlies are just making themselves known. I mean, they are one win away. Say that 3 times fast from 30 wins this season. So honestly, they are doing well. We've got the Phoenix Suns at number 3. They're 31-9. They're leading the league in the most wins. And they still haven't hit the double digit in losses, but they're down at 3 apparently. And number 4, we've got the Bulls. They've moved up into the top 5. They're 27-11, and then the Jazz down at 5 with 28-13. So a lot of NBA catching up, Tim. A lot of catching up, Tim.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
How did you feel about all that? Did you feel like you missed a lot? Did you feel like you're going to be able to kind of jump into next week kind of feeling like you've been called up?
Relatively. I'm definitely going to be watching some highlights for the Warriors. I'm definitely going to be watching some highlights for the Grizzlies. I'll obviously try to catch up on my Nets as well.
Right.
Still haven't really got to watch anything with the Jazz, so maybe if I can get a chance, I'll catch a Jazz game.
Yeah, I was actually thinking the same thing. I was like, man,
Got to.
we gotta talk about the Jazz a little bit more. Maybe we can try to make a point to talk about them a little bit more. But anyways, thank you all for listening to another episode of the Not a Sports Guy podcast. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Not a Sports Guy Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube at Not a Sports Guy Podcast. And as always, we've got a listener of the week. So, Tim, let's give thanks to CR Johnson 10 on Instagram, aka Caleb Johnson.
Johnson
commented on our most recent post whenever we announced that episode 8 was out. He commented saying, and I'll preface this with saying, the episode last week was titled Ja Morant for MVP. And Caleb comments, is this the same Ja that was Tim's band manager and also scored on his own team's basket in high school?
Ooh.
So is this the same Ja? So you knew Ja Morant in high school?
I knew a Ja. His last name was not Morant. Once again, for legality reasons, I won't disclose his last name. But I did know a Ja who was not quite as successful at basketball. Yes, he did score on his own team during a JV basketball game.
It's something we've all done, right, Tim?
I never did it.
Me neither.
Look, I got benched by a junior, but I wasn't that bad. So.
And so why did you get benched by a junior? Because you were pursuing your dreams elsewhere.
I was pursuing my dreams of being a musician, a rock star.
And apparently Ja followed you.
He was my band manager for some time, for a couple of weeks maybe.
How exciting. Well, thank you, Caleb, for commenting on our recent
Johnson.
Kurt Johnson 10. We really appreciate it. Appreciate your support, and we appreciate everyone else's support as well. Just make sure if you want to be the listener of the week next week, make sure you comment on one of our recent posts, and we will give you a shout out as well. Tim, where can they email us?
Ooh, you put me on the spot here. I was about to say not a podcast sports guy. Sorry. Scratch all that, guys. Not a sports guy podcast at gmail.com.
We get a lot of emails.
That's
many emails.
NOTASPORTS.
Nope.
GUYPODCAST at gmail.com.
We're going to get out of here, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Tim, any last words?
Yeah, thanks for letting us waste your time, guys, for the past hour. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as we do. We appreciate all of you listening to us, and I'm out.
We're out. Love ya.
Bye.